What's happening, boys? Well, good.
Good, mate.
Not too bad.
Aye, all good, buddy.
Nice. We did have another intro to play, but we're saving it for next week if we get a good result, because they don't want to waste a good surprise on you. We'll waste it on Hibs. Waste it on Hibs. Well, obviously live on YouTube, so thanks to everybody for watching. Get in contact, give us any of your thoughts and feelings for the game. It's just passed on Saturday, and then we'll obviously build up and preview the big game of the weekend, which is the Edinburgh Derby. We'll discuss Saturday's upcoming game, and then also the fact that we are currently sitting top of the table, 2 points clear. Clear your schedules for May. To book all your holidays from work. The street parades are going to be absolutely phenomenal because the Gorgies winning the fucking lot. League Cup doesn't count anyway. Only Scaffs win the League Cup. It's for wee dicks. Everything else, the Scottish Cup and the League double will be phenomenal. What's been happening?
Not much, mate. Not much. Just busy weekend. Watching Hearts, and then the European team in a lovely maroon on Saturday also have it with a great performance. So it's a good day for teams in maroon, to be honest.
Aye, it was a decent day. I enjoyed the American tears last night. It was fun. Although I won't lie, I was absolute shit myself.
I got a bit nervy there. Right? Were you head in hands like you are at times?
Post-run thing, like.
Yeah. No, I don't care that much about golf, Tam. It's a gimp sport. It's fun to watch every now and again, but it's for gimps. Let's move on. Speaking of gimps that play golf, Kev, what's happening?
I don't know that was going to be. Not a great deal. And yeah, like Tam, was at the game on Saturday. However, I wasn't in the ground, an hour and 10 minutes before kick-off like you were, Tam. At least I did have a couple of beers. But no, very quiet week. This week will just be very subdued, waiting for Saturday 5:45 kick-off.
Why are you in this? Were you back getting your lunchbox signed, Tam? Is that what we're dealing with now? The Hearts are winning games again, is it? You got to get the pack lunchbox signed.
Getting selfies with, what is it, Jock the Jambo or whatever.
Aye, whatever those dogs are called. I really want to understand where that even comes from. Like, what's it going to do with Hearts? Fucking absolute random. Never mind. Ando, what's been happening?
Went on holiday last week. So it was decent. Back on Saturday afternoon. So I couldn't get to Tynecastle for the game, and I was worried because I've been at every home game so far this season in the league, all three of them or however many we've played, and I was like, nah, if we come a cropper against Falkirk, I'm going to get dug out for this for not turning up. So I'm glad that I'm not starting any sort of daft patterns or anything like that. But aye, all good, man. All good otherwise.
Where did you go on holiday?
Just a staycation. So we got a log cabin. Loch Lupnig, for anybody that knows that. Not more or less, aye.
That's what that's called, isn't it?
In Perthshire, aye. In the mountains, nobody can hear you scream. Hot tub.
Why were you screaming though, Andrew? That's the question.
Well, that's none of your goddamn business, Kev.
He broke his personal best. He was got up to 3 minutes 15. He's like, knee sliding like Kizzaridis on Saturday, absolutely buzzing.
There we go. I was able to watch the game on Hearts TV, but it's sadly wasn't there. But buzzing nonetheless.
That was a positive result in the Liam Corbett derby, which was I was actually trying to think about the last time when we beat the wee dick. So that was decent to see. And he got absolute dogs abuse as well, which was also fun. Right. Where we want to start with the Kev? Any Gorgie news? What's been happening?
Yeah, things from a news point of view have been pretty quiet, to be truthfully honest. From McKinney's media appearance on Thursday, it was mainly around players that have been injured and injury lists. I think the ones that we already know about, Pollock, who probably will never see a Hearts shirt again. He'll be out for that long. Gordon might also be the same, who's seemingly pulled the hamstring, but I don't know why, because let's be honest, he doesn't kick the ball that far anyway. But the more important ones, Frankie Kent, they believe he'll be out for a couple of weeks, but back earlier than they expected. So probably that means maybe January. The way our injury list and impact goes. Same with Aju. Looks like he will also be out, we're thinking, for a couple of months anyway, with a hamstring injury also. So I think the best we could probably see is genuinely probably again around at the same time as Frankie Kent. But better news with regards to Borchgrevink. He's back in training. Didn't do enough to make the bench of that on Saturday, which is potentially the right thing. And I know we'll get into discussing team selection for Saturday's game, but there is talk of him being available for Saturday. And then, of course, the other bit of news from the weekend is Captain Fantastic, Shankland breaking the Scottish Professional Football League record goals, overtaking Rory McAllister with now 163 goals across all leagues, which is no mean feat. And we're only 6 games into the league, so I'm not going to predict anything, but I would be very surprised if he doesn't add to that particular goal haul for the remainder of this season. And I still got another couple of seasons at Gorgie as well to add to it. So
Mate, he's getting 30 this year.
well,
Easy.
There's no reason why not when you consider who's round about him now. The kind of link up that he's got with the players. Kazaridis is of course obvious, as is Braga. But there's others still to come in who maybe haven't had as much of a sort of chance on the pitch as those two. So yeah, you're right, Ando. Why should he not be aiming for those kind of figures again, and adding to that 163 goal tally that he's already got?
He's got 75 goals for Hearts now, didn't he?
75 goals for Hearts as well across all competitions, which is something not to be sniffed at. I think the last person that even got close to that was Jamie Walker on about 43, 42. 52, 53.
You got to 50.
Aye. Don't get me wrong, he's got a couple of decent shots on Saturday for Grimsby, the footballing icons that they are. But as I say, Shankland goes on from strength to strength this season, which is great to see.
Aye. I thought Derek McInnes had said that Aju had a chance for Saturday. Has he now said that that's an absolute done and dusted? Because I think he said that Borchgrevink was expected to potentially play some part on Saturday. Frankie Kent was a bit off, but Aju might make this Saturday.
Yeah, I think that's from other reports that I've read. I think that's just let's put it this way: is trying to bam up as many folk as he possibly can. A lot of the bits and pieces that I've seen that even Aju's not even been in training, so I don't expect to see him on Saturday at all. Borchgrevink, yeah, totally different situation there. He has been back training for at least a week, 10 days, so there is a definite chance that he could, potentially start, but he could definitely make a spot on the bench on Saturday. That's for sure.
He's not starting on Saturday.
I wouldn't think so.
Absolutely no chance. I don't think there's any need to risk him in that type of game on Saturday. I think we'll see 3 games in a row with the same starting 11. I don't think he'll make any changes to the team. Maybe Benny, because Benny went down in the last couple of minutes of the Falkirk game. But other than that, I don't think he'll make much changes at all, if I'm being completely honest. So that's a good point. That's a good place to start. The starting 11 on Saturday. What was your thoughts and feelings pre-game, Tam? We've went from Harry Milne being the best left back at the club to now being the best right wing back at the club.
To be honest, I was actually surprised to see. I think I'm right in saying it's McInnes' first time playing the same starting 11.
Yep.
for Hearts. So I was surprised, but when he came out after the game and said, or before the game, I can't remember which way around, but he expected similar in terms of Falkirk keeping possession like Rangers did and trying to counteract that type thing. It makes sense, and there was no complaints really, but there's nothing you can really complain. We've won at Ibrox with that team. You would expect the same team to do the same situation at Tynecastle, realistically.
Yeah, I think it's no coincidence that we've bubbled away with maybe 20, 30 minutes of glimpses of us playing very well, or like a really solid first half, like at Ibrox, and fade away. And then, we've had some really good second halves, like Motherwell, for example, after we get the goal back. And we've clicked into gear and looked really menacing and really well oiled. I don't think it's any surprise that our most accomplished 90 minutes of the season came on Saturday, and it was the starting 11 that played back-to-back games. I think that can't be understated, just how important that is. You look at, Shankland, Kizzaridis scoring, Braga having chances and missing, Shankland actually having a couple of chances and missing, Kizzaridis should have scored a second, a brilliant save by Scott Bain, but the combinations starting to click, I think it was the last podcast, I said that I was happy that we'd seen Shankland score, because one of my big worries was that we just weren't creating chances for Shankland. All the chances were falling for Braga and the likes. Now we are absolutely creating chances for Shankland, and again, he was very unlucky not to have a double on Saturday. Another good save from Scott Bain. And then you look at just the partnerships up and down the park. Kingsley playing there and having Kizzaridis and stuff in front of him to give him that cushion, to know that there's someone there defensively behind him. He can get up and down the park. Is great. Obviously, him playing Kingsley himself playing left wing back with the back three, and then obviously Milne and McEntee playing on the right hand side, giving each other that support and stuff as well. It's been superb to see the combinations coming in. Gives us a little bit of a glimpse into why and how important continuity is. Not just bleeding in the new faces and stuff, but arguably the best player in the park on Saturday for me was Craig Halkett. I think I've said it 1,000 times, and I'll keep saying it, that Hearts are a million times better when Craig Halkett plays, and if he can stay fit, Hearts are in a very good space. Anything else jump off the page?
Sorry. You talk about those combinations and relationships and whatnot as well, but you touched on it with Halkett, but that relationship him and Finlay have getting already is brilliant. And I honestly, looking at it, there's, as a defensive two partnership at the back, there's no many better in the league, to be honest with you, at this point.
Yep, and Findlay as well on Saturday a couple of times did exactly what Benny and Devlin don't, because he stepped past the midfield and had a couple of glimpses at goal, made a very good save, made the keeper make a very good save. That actually generates the corner where Braga actually probably should score with it, or do better with the header. He heads it straight the goalkeeper. Whereas if he gets it low, any lower than what he does, he makes the keeper have to make a decent save rather than a routine save. So yeah, it's all working. And again, we went back to what I've said from the start: is trust the process. It's not a manager chucking straws and try to clutch them in the dark or whatever. It's a manager that's plotted his way through, played players when he wanted to play them, he's gave them opportunity, he's seen everybody, he's had a good look at people to see what do they have to offer, and now he's starting to reap the rewards of the fact that he's starting to understand the squad, and more importantly, the squad are starting to understand what he wants. I know that we'll talk about the finish for the first goal from Kizzaridis, but actually when you watch the whole move from the start, it starts from the back, it builds from the back, and it goes with purpose through the lines. Everybody taking a touch and going forward, everybody looking to be in a position in the park that puts Falkirk under pressure. And then obviously the goal is absolutely phenomenal, but the build-up, I think it starts from Halkett and works its way all over the park. And then culminates in potentially one of the goals of the season, which was superb. So, anything else pre-game, starting 11, or anything in that jumped off? Or the German boy got another second start in goals. What's our thoughts?
He's one for the cameras, isn't he? He had a few what you'd call Hollywood saves. I think it's just to like everybody else in the park is playing so well. It's just to maybe try and draw a wee bit of attention to him. By the way, I've had nothing to do, but when I do have something to do, look how good I am. A bit of a Hollywood keeper, but you know what? Again, clean sheet. So fine. What is it? His third game now, or no? It's maybe his second start. Aye, started against Rangers. So, fair enough. I've got. You didn't want to put misplaced confidence into a keeper straight away, but I've not seen anything that gives me the fear about him. Whereas with Gordon and Clark, obviously their games are less than perfect, but. It's one of them. Until he makes a mistake or gives me a reason to doubt him, then I'm quite comfortable having him there. I think he's doing well.
Well, I would add, he seems to be a lot better with the ball at his feet than the other two options we have, which is a massive difference, to be honest.
What?
He played actually. I actually watched him take a free kick, right-footed free kick, virtually standing right beside Corbett, and Corbett's mouth opened. Like in awe that this ball went straight up the line, straight to the Hearts player. And I was at least, must be a good 50 metres away from where you now sit, Corbett, but I could still see those pearly whites.
We'll pearly yellow something. I'm fair counsel. Pearly whites about these. Like Turkey would send me straight back over the border. Never darken my doorstep again. Saturday was a big test for them. Hibs, our physical side, they'll play for corners and set plays, and they'll put pressure on him. He's not done nothing wrong so far, but he looks mental. Like that's the first time I've seen the flesh. He looks absolutely mental.
Mental in a good way, or mental in a I'm fucking nervous.
I can't make my mind up.
He's like a level away from Bobby Zamal at this point. Do you know what I mean? Like,
he's mad. He's mental.
He's currently in the lift going to Bobby level.
Because Scott had said after the game when we were walking back to the car, because I gave him a lift to him, he was like, the keeper. That's what he said. So how long's the keeper played for you? And I was like, mate, I know what you're going to say. He's like, he's going to have a mistake in him because he doesn't look comfortable with the ball at his feet. And I was like, he looks mental as well. Like there was a point, I don't know if he's in the first half, right? Falkirk play the ball over the top, and it's Calvin Miller who's pretty rapid, and it's going to the keeper. But it was one of those ones where you're like, "Are you going to come out for this?" And like he just stood still, and then he literally dived for the ball. Like instead of like coming and headering it, or like coming and catching it with like his knee up in the air, he waited for it to like bounce and then literally like dived and took it off the boy's head. And I was like, what are you doing? Like that's bananas. But he looks like you judge a goalkeeper on what he's asked to do, which is keep the ball out the net. And a couple of wee snapshots here or there for Falkirk in a game where they never really tested us. To be honest, he done what we asked him to do. He looked assured when it comes to shot stopping, which is what we need. But Saturday will be the acid test, because like I said, he's going to be fun in that sense of you never know you don't know what you're going to get, because he comes for crosses that he shouldn't, punches when he should catches when he probably should punch. It's like it's just mental.
Well, it's a small sample size, but the goal we lost against Rangers that wasn't given, that's kind of proven what you just said as well. So
that's true, but that was a foul.
He's going to turn out to be the monk out of Mean Machine, isn't he?
Yeah, that's what he's like. He's absolutely bananas. So, on Saturday, 6:30, he's got his foot up on the post, smoking a fag, fighting with his fans behind him. I'll be absolutely buzzing. I'll be like, I love this guy. But, again, I wonder what the plan is for the goalkeepers, because obviously I can't see Craig Gordon. Craig Gordon would have had to have been back and playing now to have any chance of establishing himself as a as a number one, and I don't know if the club are potentially, but Derek McInnes and that are potentially quite happy with the situation, given that they don't have a decision to make. Can maybe bring him in, get him announce his retirement come near towards the end of the season, or that he's wanting to play football and pursuing finding another club rather than having him fit and playing third string potentially. If it was, if you've got Clark making a bench every week because Clark's signed a contract, and Gordon in the stand, or Gordon doing the crosses warming up the keeper, it's not the way that we want to see him go out. So let's hope that the new boy keeps the clean sheets coming.
He's under Clark's contract. Is that until the end of this season? Because he signed a 2-year
next season.
Yeah.
Is it? Right, okay. I don't know why I had it in my head it was this season. But okay.
I think the two keepers are actually out of contract at the same time. I think they both have got 2 years.
I do.
This season and next for both of them, I think.
It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. It'll be interesting to see how it goes, because right now there's nothing to worry about. He looks, like I said, he's done the job that he's been asked to do. If he gets another clean sheet on Saturday, then we'll be absolutely buzzing. Right. First half, Kev, what was your thoughts on the setup, how we played?
I'm going to give Falkirk a bit of credit. I actually thought they started pretty damn well. I thought they looked much more comfortable on the ball in the first 5 or 10 minutes of the game. They even had a couple of chances that had maybe slightly better decision making, giving them an opportunity on goal. But once we actually got into the swing of things, I thought the back three looked very solid. Finlay in the middle. I know he's predominantly left-footed, but he has that ability to come in on his right. You've mentioned it already. Halkett, he understands the game. He reads the game so well, and if he can stay fit, then you've got a automatic starter in your team, because he's head and shoulders above the others that are in that particular position at the moment. But I thought, as I say, we started maybe not as cleanly as Falkirk did, but as we grew into the game, I didn't really feel at any point we were ever going to be under any pressure. And as you already mentioned it, the potentially goal of the season already, we're only 6 games in, quite simply just settled the team in. We know that Shankland wasn't exactly happy with Harry Milne about 30 seconds before his strike. But all in all, I thought the first half, we looked really good, moved the ball purposely, as you've already said. And even when we lost possession, we were very quick to close down the space and really harry a lot of the Falkirk players into making rash decisions. And from that, we were able to win the ball back, which was great to see. You won't get that on Saturday, that's for sure. You won't get Hibs coming to try and play the same way Falkirk did. But as I say, I think from the first half display, I thought we looked very assured.
Yeah, I've watched a load of Falkirk over the past 6 or 7 months. You would never know, And to be honest with you, they play that way every single game. It's the same shit that we watched under Critchley and Naismith and Robbie, side to side, playing the game in front of Hearts, not really getting anywhere, a couple of half chances for 20 odd yards where they've had snapshots or whatever it is, playing with not really a recognised striker up front. And Hearts just, I think they just grew into the game. I don't think we started badly. That's not to say that, as I thought it was our most accomplished 90 minutes of the season. But it wasn't like, the Dunfermline start or the Aberdeen start where it was all out action and aggressive. It was a slow burn, and by the end of the game, it felt, up until the changes, you're 3-0 up and they're looking not to get beat heavily because goal difference and all that stuff plays a huge part in it. We're looking not to concede or to do anything stupid. So there was substitutions towards the end that disrupted our flow, but there was a point from about 15 minutes in till about the 75th minute, Hearts were utterly dominant. We Falkirk couldn't get out, didn't know how to get out, and when they did, it never stuck because of what you just spoke about there. I thought the back three of McEntee, Finlay and Halkett are super aggressive. They're quick where they need to be, and they're in that Halkett playing in the middle, just intelligent, keeping players in the right spaces, letting them know where they need to be. And then the balance of obviously Harry Milne as a wing back, Borkovich's not playing there until we'll probably see this shape until the January transfer window if Stephen Kingsley can stay fit on the other side, because it gives us defensive cover, which any decent manager will always think about that. You know, people talk about Kyle Walker, for example, rapid, quick, super adventurous, gets up and supports attacks, but his defensive work is still his defensive work, and I think that's where you get the benefits of having Kingsley there, and especially on Saturday, Hibs will look to play those channels for Boyle, and we need to be very wary of that. This might sound absolutely mental, Tam, right? But you know what jumped off the page on Saturday for me is now you can see it's not weakness, that's what I'm trying to say, but it was the one area of the park that I felt stuck out as we just don't seem to have the same quality as we do in the other areas. What take a guess?
Centre mid.
Aye. Devlin and Benny.
Says a lot that we're what are we 5 years later and it's still even to the centre of the park at Tynecastle.
And look, Benny's a fantastic footballer, brilliant at what he does, but there was a point in the first half where we were down in the corner flag. I think we had a free kick, and at the edge of the box, Benny and Devlin were standing, and Falkirk never even put a man on them. They were 20 yards out, both of them in acres of space. But the thing is, neither of them were screaming for the ball, hands up for the ball, wanting the ball, because they're not going to shoot. We're not going to pass to them to shoot, and Falkirk are going to waste a man going on them when they're not going to shoot. And I feel that that's the bit on Saturday where, not the missing piece of the puzzle, but you got to watch Finlay wins the ball aggressively and storms at the park and he'll have a shot. Kazaridis wins the ball and cuts inside and he'll shoot. Millen will come inside and shoot. He's scored already. Braga will score. Shankland will score. Those instinctive, Shankland's chance is a half chance at best. Just sheer aggressiveness that gets the ball. Obviously his anger because he was furious at Harry Milne. But Benny, Devlin, and we talked about this before about at our worst points last season as well, about Braga and Kazaridis now are occupying space, but they're also occupying people's minds. That's freeing up Shankland, because last season it was focus on Shankland because nobody else is scoring. So you stop him, isolate him, get him frustrated, get him to start dropping deep, get him to start dropping wide, you're saying. Because there's no one, there's nobody. Danda's not going to score, Spittle's not scoring, Forrest isn't scoring, Devlin isn't going to go in behind, Benny's not going to go in behind. It's so easy to just stop what we're doing. Whereas now, because Milne's aggressive and will go forward, Kingsley's aggressive and will go forward, you've got the front three that are aggressive and will shoot and take people on. It's just the middle of the park where I'm so many opportunities on Saturday where we're looking for a sidewards pass, we're looking for an extra touch, we're looking to win the ball back, which is great. That is what they're amazing at. Devlin runs about and is just annoying to everybody and he'll win the ball back great. But as soon as he's got the ball, he just doesn't have it to drive it 30, 40 yards up the park. And I think on Saturday, and that's not a criticism, I think that they played well. I think Hearts were completely and utterly comfortable in the game, but it was one of those aspects of the game where I'm thinking you can see why they've brought Ajew in and why he looked like he made such a massive difference in the 35 minutes that he played at Livingston, because it's that type of player that could be the difference maker from whether it's a sustained it's going to be a flash in the pan and integrate like Aberdeen. So is that harsh? What's your thoughts on the game?
Sorry, we're kind of losing you, but I don't know if that's just me.
Lean forward a wee bit.
Heard what you said. So no, I don't think it's harsh. I thought Devlin had pretty good first half defensively. He kind of led that press throughout the game. But as you mentioned there, about not even man marking Benny and Devlin, there was that point where I think this was before this, where Benny got the ball at the edge of the box. An accomplished midfielder's going to take a shot there. The whole crowd shouting shoot, and he just doesn't bother. He tries to pass it off, and it's whichever striker's got about five men around him, and he's not going to get in and off. So, as you say, it's like this is why Ajew has been brought in, and hopefully that is the missing link. It would just be good at this stage to have him there, and hopefully it is just a case when we get into after the international break Celtic game, we've got him there. I also kind of feel bad due to the right back situation with McEntee. I think he would be that sort of player as well in the middle of the park. He'd be a bit more driving forward. So we would have both options there. But at the moment, it is what it is, and we still played well. So as you say, it's not harsh, but it's probably more just the truth.
I think you're right in what you said about the missing link as well, because if you look at every other position in the park, well, apart from Shankland, we've elevated the level of player that is there, whereas we've not done that in the centre of the midfield yet. And I think that maybe that's one for January. But again, not to labour the point on contracts. Devlin's out of contract at the end of this year, isn't he? So
yeah,
they both are.
Aye. So I don't know. You just see them probably not being offered something new. We get someone new in January, elevate that position, and then that missing link effectively is filled in.
Is that not part of the reason for Magnuson? Sorry, just if you look at Magnuson, each time that he's came on against Rangers and again on Saturday, each time he wanted to drive forward with the ball. Appreciate that he's coming on with new legs as such, and with 15 minutes to go, and others are possibly falling at their backside. But
forgot about him, to be fair.
I thought when he came on Saturday, he was one of the. There you go. He was one of the actual players who actually wanted to do something when he got his opportunity. I didn't feel that was the case with the other subs that came on. But it's a question if Benny isn't making the game on Saturday the way he went down on Saturday there, he looks like he could be out for probably the rest of the year, knowing Benny. But do you look at moving Ocean T?
Easy for you to say.
McEntee into that midfield berth that is vacated by Benny, or do you look at Magnuson as a potential option?
I think one of our biggest problems for ages and ages has been the balance of the squad, the balance of the team. I don't think he'll move. If Benny can't play, they'll play Magnuson. They'll play someone in that, maybe even Spittle, potentially. I know that's probably not what people would like to hear, but it's weird, and that's not to diminish. I think Derek McInnes has played it brilliantly in terms of protecting the new guys that have coming into a new league, new club, new expectations. But I think he's played and leaned on the historic players and still made them feel part of it or whatever. And I think Devlin and Benny clearly are big characters and will be helping the new boys settle in or whatever. So yeah. It is frustrating as hell that they won't shoot, but they bring so much to what they're doing. That's not me saying that get rid of them, they're absolute rubbish or whatever, but I'd be surprised if either of the two of them are offered a new deal. That's what I was going to say to you around the table quickly. Do you think any of them will be offered new deals? Can you see that happening?
It depends what happens in January, but I would say probably not. As I said, the previous point about we've elevated pretty much every other position, and it's barring one or two players that have been there for a long, long time. That would be I'd say their time's done, if I'm honest. And that sounds really cold. Obviously, I'm sentimental about the two of them. I think they've both provided brilliant moments, but yeah, I think come the end of the season they'll be gone.
Kev?
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. I think if you were to ask now, would you keep Benny, Devlin, let them both go, or what? I'd be in that latter camp. I believe in Jamestown. and I believe in what the whole process looks like. And I don't think either of them are going to be still here this time next season.
Sam?
I actually disagree. I think Devlin could stay on, to be honest with you. That was good timing for that comment popping up by Dave. But I just think the way that Jamestown works, you see it with Brighton, they've got that spine of the squad, the experience in the league. I could see Devlin being that sort of one that's kept on, because managers love him because he's going to put in so much effort throughout the game. I know there's the deficiencies there, but now he's got those players he can pass the ball on to rather than him trying to be the attacking force that Naismith tried to play him as. So it's more him winning the ball back and giving it away. And I think he gets it. And I know that sounds ridiculous and it's total cliche, but I could see him getting kept on.
There was points on Saturday where, and the reason why it jumped off the page there immediately was like, we had pushed Falkirk right into their half. You know, we're 25, 30 yards out, maybe even 18 yards out from their goal, and Devlin's winning the ball back and immediately passing it all the way back to Halkett. And I'm just thinking that's not what. Yeah, we want them to win the ball back, but McInnes is going to be looking for. We've got them hemmed in. They are in. They can't get out by immediately surrendering 40 yards with a pass. All right, to recycle it and bring it back out. It's those like McInnes has spoke about before about old habits and trying to dig out the old habits of the team, get them into the new way of thinking. Those things, like on Saturday, I noticed that they didn't impact the game. It didn't cause Falkirk to then come out and counter presses and drive us up the park or whatever. But like a game like Saturday, when Hibs won't just be worried about how we play, they'll come to play their own game. They'll look to have players, Bowie and Boyle and stuff, sitting on Halkett and the likes because their pace. And if we are winning the ball back 25 yards out from their goal and then immediately playing it 35 yards back into the halfway line or into our half just because it's the open man and open space, it's that area of their game that they just need to get better at. And to be fair, I've loved Cammy Devlin this season. You all know my thoughts and feelings on Cammy Devlin. I think that there's parts of his game he's really limited as a football player, but I think he's improved massively under there at McInnes. So I probably agree with you, Tam, that out of the two, I don't think any will stay, if I'm being honest with you. Cammy Devlin must be coming up for, 29?
I think he's still a bit younger.
Oh, is he? Well, just try to think about, like, maybe even from himself, does he have aspirations to go play somewhere else? I know he's got a girlfriend in a house and all that.
Just turned 27.
Right, so he's still got plenty of time. And maybe he's the perfect Foley for Ajew, the wee guy that runs about crazy, wins the ball back and gives it to someone that can drive up the park. So potentially, but it was one of those things I noticed on Saturday. Just felt like this is the bit like a Hartley would have loved this game. 25 yards out, 30 yards out, space to run into, drive the ball forward, get past the strikers. Again, intelligent football players as well, and not to go back to just because he's my mate or whatever, but like Scott had a unbelievable chance in the second half, and that's a midfielder going past the striker to try and score, and it's just something that's why we got so excited about Ajew at Livy, because Lee went past Shankland, Braga to try and score. It's something that we've not had for absolute ages. But again, that's making it sound like that's a negative thing. Hearts were brilliant on Saturday. I'm not trying to diminish anything that we did. It was just a conversation. Right.
Interestingly enough, with the Hibs midfield, two of them went off injured on Saturday. I don't know if you know that. McGrath and Chaiwa.
Sound. You couldn't spot. I'm not going to pick two of them out of a lineup, if I'm being honest with you. We've danced about it. Obviously, there was two beautiful goals in the first half. We spent some time talking about just how a ridiculous fine Kizaridis looks, because it's really easy to focus on Kev, the fact that he scores a worldie, but see his all-round play. He tracks back, he tackles, he gets stuck in, he runs himself into the ground. It's not just the positive forward play. He looks like a proper player, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's I think the fact you mentioned it is that he's positive. He wants the ball at his feet. And you mentioned something earlier on about Devlin and trying to. McInnes mentioned that trying to break the mould on certain players. But if you watch a lot of the players who have been at the club for a number of seasons, played under Nielsen, Naismith, and the arsehole that is Critchley.
All three can fall into that category, you're all right. You never had to
You're
specify.
right. Yeah, I know, mate. I know. I just didn't like him at all. Anyway, if you watch a lot of the players, a lot of it, you mentioned it, a lot is that sideways pass, that backward pass. You give it to Kizaridis, you give it to Braga, the first thing they want to do is move forward with the ball. I love the way that Kizaridis, also the way he takes the ball side on, so that he's got that ability to actually go in whichever direction he wants, rather than, as can be the case with certain players that we've had over the years, they're playing with their back to the goal, or they're playing, effectively looking at our own goals, which is not exactly the best way. But the ability that the boys got to put a cross in, left foot or right foot, is great. The fact that he never stands still, and I know that there was the laugh and the joke after Ibrox with regards to Braga, and an air tag is required just to keep an eye on where he is on the pitch. You could say exactly the same thing about Kizaridis. They're always moving, they're always looking for space. That's exactly what we've been calling out for years. So yeah, good to see.
I haven't seen a first touch like that at Tynecastle in so long. He just takes the ball so well, as you said, and it's always on the turn, Kev.
So does Braga.
Yeah.
So does Braga. There was a point in the second half where Braga got the ball about the halfway line. He skinned the man but headed back towards our goal, then rinsed him and ended up taking the ball. And we got a throw in about 10 yards for their byline because he's just so comfortable having the ball in tight spaces. The amount of times where they were trying to get touch tight, like Liam Henderson were trying to get right on top of Braga, and he spun them, got a touch of the ball when it doesn't look like he's going to bring the ball down. The only thing I'd say is that I know you take some of this away from him, you ruin the player or whatever. There was a couple of times he tried a Rabona cross in the second half, when actually it's so much easier just to pick his man out. He tried a flick, he tried to score with a wee scorpion kick in the first half as well, with like a back heel, and I'm like, they're all great, that's what makes him brilliant. He's off the cuff, but he needs, if he can start to learn off Shankland, the opportunity in the first half as well, where he tries to place it right into the top corner, that's an opportunity that you're looking for him to be a bit, because I've said before, he's an instinctive finisher, he's not a natural finisher. That's that one where he's tried to bar in that. We've all been there ourselves. He's tried to put that top bag when it's like just put the ball in the net. But they're brilliant. They're such an upgrade, and the players. I think what's that? Stuart Lawrence just said that there. It was a great comment that it is such an upgrade. But again, I think Alan Forrest came on Saturday and was clearly had instructions and a job to do, and I think he done it. I think he's in a point where McInnes clearly feels like he can trust the established players that have been at the club for a while to carry out an instruction. So he sees something in the park. Calvin Miller is rapid fast for Falkirk, and then they brought that Ague man on as well, who's rapid quick, and thinking, right, they're going to target that side of the park. Let's bring someone on that's equally as quick and can play defensively the position that we want. We don't need to score goals now. We can just release Cabangu. So it's all proper. Kev, you mentioned that they're like, we've sat here and bemoaned us playing football by colour by numbers. Everybody regimented where they're supposed to be in the passes, never miss a guy out, and it's all there. And all you do is we play in front of a team. All they have to do is set up and watch us play. Exactly what we did to Falkirk in the opening 10 minutes. Have the ball, mate, pass it about, you're gone nowhere. You know what I mean? Pot shots for 20 yards, you might score, but we're the keeper to score it. Now you've got Braga that's that side, moves to that side. You've got Shankland the Serre that goes there. You've got Kizaridis swapping and moving in. They're constantly moving, they drop deep. People don't know what to do. They don't know where to go. Harry Milne with about 2 or 3 times came diagonally right across the park. We went from one wing to the other with the ball, and then vice versa or whatever. And I watched we'll turn it into the Heart and Hand podcast or whatever, but been watching Rangers and I've been laughing at the fact that everything that we're loving about Derek McInnes is everything that would make Rangers better. And everything that Rangers hate about Russell Martin is everything we've hated about Neil Critchley, Stephen Naismith, Robbie Nielsen. Try to watch Match of the Day on a Saturday night and then wank into his A licence and pro licence and then come up on a Sunday and be like, oh, look at this amazing way I've got to play football. And David Martindale absolutely smashes him or whatever. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I love. I love the most about Oyet is the fact that I've said it a million times and I'll keep saying it. Derek McInnes' pro licence fucking stops his dining room table for wobbling. That's as much credence as he gives to that. Do you know what I mean? It's rolled up underneath the couch, making sure it doesn't wobble when you match.
Rab Lockhart made a good tweet on Saturday at halftime, which I shared. But he said something about the snobbery in Scottish football that makes people think that Derek McInnes only plays Route 1 football. And you're looking at it now, and there was our own fans that said that when he got put in charge. And you look at it, and it's exactly the football we want to see at Tynecastle: on the front foot, ball forward, everything like that.
It's a good point. It would be interesting. I was going to say it would be interesting to go back to those fans who were all against the signing of McInnes, the going down that McInnes route, and actually asking them, how do you feel about it now? You know, there must have been guys who gave interviews to the Evening News, to the BBC or whatever around, or made a comment around McInnes being the next Hearts manager, going, that's not what we want. You know, he only got Kilmarnock to X position and got lucky the season before, you know, all this kind of stuff. And actually ask them, right, where do you feel now? Because I'll hold my hands up. I wasn't, you know, initially I wasn't convinced. However, after his press conference and the way in which he held himself and the things he said about the club, I was like, straight away, yep, I like the cut of this guy's jib, as they say. So from that point of view, I'd be interested to see what those people who were very scathing about actually signing him are actually saying now.
Well,
ask on kickback and you'll get all the gammons answering.
Mate.
I was at wait till Saturday because they're still there. They're still there. They're just waiting. It's what to do because, like Rab Lockhart said correctly, there's football snobbery in Scotland. That's why Russell Martin's got the second biggest job in Scotland and making an absolute cunt of it. Because he's got a fancy way of playing or whatever, and he plays it the right way. He's studied the way Pep plays, etc., and he gets found out because you need more than that. And the thing that I like the most about Hearts is that there is nobody can say that we don't try to play football, but when it's needed and when it's required, we're happy to mix it up. So it is. You've got to try and win. You've got to try and win the game, and there's more than one way to do it. So I think that he's slowly, and like I said, winning football matches changes the narrative all the time. That's the way it goes. One of the things that I've been thinking about a lot, because obviously I listen to TalkSport every now and again because they've been, folk have been talking about the pressure that's on Russell Martin, but talking about the fact that people are sleeping on Tony Bloom and all that sort of stuff because of his background and what he's achieved in the game and everything. And I've actually been thinking about, that's all true. Jamestown, Tony Bloom, everything brilliant. He's got a track record. He's got substance. We spoke about that at length. But actually, look at what Derek McInnes achieved with Aberdeen when he had one hand tied behind his back. He was in Europe every single year. He was 10 points, 15 points behind the Invincibles and Brendan Rodgers. In every transfer window, he had his best players sold and not replaced. Plus, he was managing Aberdeen and fucking Dave Cormack. Now he has two hands. He's got both his hands on a world-renowned recruitment system. He has infrastructure. He has a budget. He's got quality players. He has a big squad. That's what I'm thinking about. Yeah, Tony Bloom's fine. That'll take care of himself. But if Derek McInnes can reach his potential with a substance that backs up his experience, that's what we're seeing now. A manager that's cutting wee chunks off a season and saying, right, go win 4 of these games. That's 4 done right up to the international break. Let's see if we can get maximum points or don't lose a game. Right, let's reset after the international break. Let's go again, try and win 4 games, all that stuff. And that's what you win on Saturday. Anybody that's even remotely on the fence surely can see that that they're being mental.
You just touched on it there as well. I'd love that he's just not getting carried away. Even Andrew McKinley wasn't getting carried away at the weekend, which is no
Well,
like him.
nobody's carrying him away.
It's exactly what we want to hear because, well, it is only 6 games into the season league campaign, and it looks good. But we can't be having any bold shouts just yet.
No, but you also have to look at where we are in terms of, like, everybody will use Aberdeen last season, and I get it. I understand that. That's fine. But
Sorry, Dan. Callum McGregor came out the weekend and basically just rubbished the fact that we're above them in the league because
that's fine. That's fine. He's won 23 out of 27 trophies. I get all that, right? But
100%.
the one difference is that, say we lose on Saturday, I can't see us going on 6 games without a win. I can't. It'll maybe be a win, a draw, a loss, and then a win, a couple of wins, a draw, a loss, whatever it will be. And the momentum now is about, right, well, we're 2 points in front of Celtic. Can we stay 2 points in front of Celtic? But the most important thing is what we're 8 points in front of Hibs. We are 9 points in front of Rangers. That means that we have to lose 3 games and they have to win 3 games just for us to be level on points. And right now, it doesn't look like we have 3 defeats in us in a row. So that's like the momentum stuff and saying, we're only 6 games, and I absolutely get it. I understand that. But now we will have dips. We will slow down at points. It's about, like, Aberdeen still finished with the last went into the last game, the last 2 games of the season with a chance of still finishing third when they were something like 31 points in front of Hibs at one point. They're not a barometer for what we could be, because they are literally a basket case. They had a wee purple patch that papered over the cracks of the fact that they've been dug shit for about 4 seasons, and now that's came home to roost. That's where we're at right now. So I get it. Not going crazy is a good thing as a manager, but I like the fact that you better believe that he's in the changing room saying, we can do something, by the way. We can do something.
Because see, if you look at the fixtures as well, so you get Hibs and that will take care of itself, because obviously it's a derby, form goes out the window and all that. After that, we're away to Kilmarnock, and then we'll get Celtic at home. Now, if that to circle back to what you said a minute ago, Corbett, about just right, all the ambition should be right, 2 points ahead of Celtic come the end of this weekend. We'll do that against Hibs, confident of that, right? Kilmarnock. And then you welcome Celtic. That 2 points then becomes 5 points if you get the win, right? Momentum is everything in football, and then we're getting towards the start of November, and then that's when the media and all the naysayers and the dissenters will go into full meltdown, and all that just becomes is fuel for McInnes and the team.
They won't believe that Hearts will win the league until it's the 91st minute of the last game of the season, and Hearts are 3 points in front and about to win the league. They still won't believe it. But again, I think, like, it's a good start. That's all it is, and that's what I've been loving about us. And what should be really encouraging for everybody is that the shoots are now there of kind of starting to understand what the best 11 is. We're starting to get what the best formation is with the best 11 that we have. And we're starting to see sustained performances. We're starting to see a bit of an identity as to what we want to see, and all of our best players are starting to find consistent form. It's fine scoring against Stirling Albion and Dunfermline and Dumbarton and all that stuff, but scoring in the Premier League is the thing that we'll judge players on, and that's what Braga's doing, it's what Kizarides is doing, it's what Shanklin's doing. That's all super encouraging.
That's the best thing about it as well. You just said starting to see and all that. It's like we do have another level to go as well.
Yep, we do. And also, here's the thing for us: can we bring back the set piece coach? I know we scored for a corner, but is there any chance? Is he just been? Did we just sack him or something? We just took his portfolio and said fine, or is he just wrote in permanent marker on the whiteboard? Because we did the same corner on repeat, which is just floated to the back post, and I'm like, what are we doing?
Gordon made a comment. Craig Gordon made a comment about that when he was doing co-commentary with Laurie on Saturday, to say that there was a couple of points, and I get exactly what movement or play it was. But he said he did mention is that the set piece coach will not be happy with that. He says that's one thing that he goes absolutely mental about. So Like, I know he's not obviously not went anywhere, but I think it's the players just need to absolutely like listen to the instructions they're being told, and I'm pretty sure they do. What went wrong on that occasion was probably just a moment of madness or whatever. But I think that definitely makes a big difference. Because how long did you scream? Because you had me pull working hours pulling stats on when was the last time we scored for a header for a corner or whatever.
Direct for a corner.
Why something like that? Huh? But
I'll tell you what's happened. He's done what we all do. We make ourselves out in the interview that we're going to be class, and we
Yeah.
get in the job. You implement all the changes right at first, and then you get a bit bored, and that's it.
speak for yourself, Tom. I'm a big deal. Don't know about you.
But it was like I think Kizzaridis is the ones that's hitting the in-swinging corners, whereas Braga should do better with a corner in the first half, which is an in-swinger from Kizzaridis, I think. And then Halkett was an unbelievable header, to be fair. It's a class header. That was a bit like the Stuart Finlay one. That's like they couldn't have placed it in the top corner any better. But it's the other one. It's the one from the other side that we just, every single time, it is dig it deep to the back post and hope someone can header it back across the goal. But these are, again, first world problems to moan about because we've got fuck all else to moan about because we're absolutely dynamite and winning everything. So we can just moan about the fact that we didn't score on the repeat for every single corner that we have. Anything else Saturday caught your eye?
We didn't even speak about Shankland's goal as such.
Oh,
but, I suppose if you're ever going to think of what we're trying to do at the moment is him winning the ball back and then in the way that he does and then creating a chance out of nothing.
Especially when you remember that he hates Hearts. Remember, he fucking
Of course.
He hates everything about Hearts. He hates his teammates. He hates the club. He hates everything about it. He wanted up the road so he could get his feet up to watch the Rangers game the following day. There was a guy behind me that in the passage of play that led to Milne and Shankland being furious with Milne, he called him a fat dick. I fucking hate that fat dick. And then he scored and I turned around and I was like, I fucking hate that fat dick. I was like, right in his face and then like...
Why are you still not smashing his fucking face in as we speak?
He was trying to laugh it off. But it was, you could see there was a few bits that built up to that because there was the chance that Kizzaridis slides in and Scott Bain makes the save. Actually, Shankland was getting frustrated with that because Braga's pass to Shankland to begin was terrible. It hits him like in the balls type thing, and he's trying to dig the ball out and eventually manages to get the ball to Milne. And Shankland's in acres of space at the edge of the box, but obviously puts a great ball in and we almost score, so you kind of get away with it. But the very next move was the same scenario. Shankland free and at the edge of the box. Milne delays, and then finally gives Shankland the ball and he gets the ball taken off him because he's like, so he goes absolutely mental at him. And then the next passage you play, he just gets his big arse, nudges the boy out the way. So anybody listen to it, if you want absolute irony of these things, as we know we're masters of it, of the podcast, because next week when we lose 3-0 to Hibs, we'll be on here saying how shite McInnes is and how but the Falkirk commentary, they talk about how good that, I don't know if his name's Montgomery or whatever it is, the boy that Shankland takes the ball off. They were like, in the passage you play before that, he stops the cross and then passes the ball out of defence or whatever. And they're like, what a player this guy's going to be. Like, he's the real deal. He's this, that, that. It's like, boom, I'll take that ball, please. And then I'll just rocket it into the bottom corner for 25 yards. But, you know, the thing that impressed me the most that I'm thinking that we're getting prime Shankland back was the chance at the start of the second half where he takes it first time running away for the ball and directs it the opposite way for it, and it's a brilliant save for the keeper. But that was it. He scored one like that against, I think, potentially Aberdeen. He'd scored one like that against St Mirren, where he's running away and just knows what he's doing. He doesn't try to lace it, doesn't try to do it. He knows where the goal is, and it's a great save. And you see him.
It was just too high. It was a perfect height for the keeper. I was right behind it. If he maybe hadn't actually hit it as well as he did and placed it along the ground, Bain was never getting anywhere near it.
Yep. And again, anybody that's obviously I have done for like the past 4 years, I am like in the bottom 10 rows. I'm really close to the pitch. it drove me insane last year listening to people say that Shankland doesn't care. All he does is shout at players. All he does is talks to the players. He constantly at them about where they need to be better. And what I loved is Kizaridis was doing it today. Kizaridis had a go at Benny about a pass because Benny never gave him it quick enough. And that shows the confidence as to where they're at. But that's one thing that used to annoy me last year about the criticism towards Shankland. And Shankland was terrible last year, right, for a whole host of reasons. But he always dug his team out, always wanted better for the players. And it's great to see him play with confidence and a smile on his face. And I'm actually looking forward to Saturday to see how he does in the derby, because he thrived in that game right up until last season. So it'll be interesting to see how he takes to it.
I can't remember who it was. That someone somewhere said it on the weekend, whether it was Craig Gordon or Laurie or one of the guys on Sports Scene during the highlights programme or whatever. But the difference between Shankland this season and last is that's as a player not only playing with as a more confidence that he's managed to find again, but also he's not got anything hanging over him anymore. Like his contract, his situation is secure. Is good. He's unencumbered, for want of a better word, and
Yep.
it is a bit of a shame, right? Because if you think if we had just maybe gotten the situation, and again, it's old news, no one really cares. But if you imagine you had prime Shankland last season, like he scored, that's him on 75 goals, right? I just went and checked. He's done that in 147 appearances, and Robertson done it in 154. So he's on course, at current course and speed, to be the best Hearts striker ever. Obviously, we're away of the days now where like you stay at the club the same length of time as John Robertson. He'll be well retired before then, but just makes you think what he could have accomplished last season if we'd got it all sorted out. But brilliant to see him back doing what he does best.
Yeah, and you can see, Tam, that I think the biggest difference with him is I agree with absolutely everything Nando says. He's obviously everything that's been hanging over him has been sorted, but you can see actual trusts Braga now. He trusts Kizaridis. He knows that they're okay. Whereas before, I think sometimes he had this tendency to maybe drop too deep to try and protect them, try and back them up, try and be beside them. Now he's trusting that they can carry the ball, that they can take a man on, that they understand what's needed, and it's freeing him up to be in the positions where we need him to be. I'd love someone to draw the lines between the 18-yarders, because I would guarantee he spends 75% of his time now between the lines of the 18-yard box. He's not drifting. He still goes out there because he's effective, he's good at passing, and he's also the goal he scored at Easter Road in the Scottish Cup. It's one of his things, coming inside and shooting or whatever. He loves coming inside, so you know all about that. It's class to see that he trusts everybody around about a minute.
Absolutely. You've summed it up well with sort of Braga, Kizaridis type thing. Even to an extent when Kabangu came on, there was that moment where Kabangu had the run of the boy for about 30 yards into the half and then should have done better, but he was there the whole way. He didn't even actually have a go at him as well. So it was good. But as you say, it's just that's the Shankland we want in that sort of number 9 position. He's not got the legs to do what Braga's doing at the moment. So it's best place to be, him on the edge of the defender. And he can't be that tall, but he's actually such a physical striker as well. You would notice that again on Saturday again, but there's very rarely where he doesn't win a header, which is mad.
What position do you prefer for coming inside?
Ashemover.
Hang on, you'll absolutely shit yourself when you see my mum and I say that to you. So you'll absolutely crumble, you'll fold.
I'll shit myself when I see your dad, to be honest.
Yeah,
I don't know doing that. He'll invite you in.
If you know Met Corbett's man, she'll eat you alive.
Yeah. Right. What else happened Saturday that we want to talk about? I think James Wilson made the bench again, and he's back.
Who was actually left out? Kabori wasn't there, was he?
Yeah. Carjota came on.
Yeah.
Magnuson came on. Magnuson's been the one that looks the most likely that he's getting up to speed, that he might actually starting some games. He looks pretty assured. He's actually quite physical too. Like I know if we maybe judging Khartoum based on that and putting him in the same bracket because they're from the same side of the world or whatever, but he actually looks like pretty combative midfielder, which was decent to see.
And he's got a shot on him, which is, we've already mentioned it. It's something that our central midfielders don't have. So, from that point of view, positives.
Well, let's see it on Saturday, hopefully. Right, let's talk about Saturday. How we feeling? What's the general consensus on a Monday before the
derby? Already. I'm already shiting it.
Aye, exactly. I'm the same, right? So since the full time whistle went on Saturday, the line was drawn. Brilliant. We've beaten a reasonable Falkirk side. I mean, I think for all we absolutely battered them. At points, I think they showed signs of being a good team. Hibs, I'll be honest, I think the Hibs of the I'm gonna catch a bit of hell for this. Hibs being a good side, right, this season is a myth as far as I'm concerned. I have not seen a lot of Hibs, but what I have seen, I haven't been impressed with them. With the, I know I've just said that out loud, right? But see the previous point I made earlier, which is form goes out the window in a derby. I am absolutely shiting it on Saturday, but in a good way. Like, it could be a 6-0 destruction, or it could be a 0-0 draw and blood everywhere on the park. I can't even make up my mind on where I'm coming down on it.
Kev, last year we rolled over and had our bellies tickled in a derby, which is the most un-Hearts thing ever in a derby. Now we lose derbies all the time. No, we don't. When we lose derbies, it's not that uncommon to lose a derby, but there's the manner in which we lost the derbies last year were embarrassing for a club that prides itself on its derby record. What's your thoughts for Saturday?
I think a lot of it comes down to attitude. I know it sounds a bit strange, but my biggest concern is more around the fact of new players coming in and do they understand what the Edinburgh Derby is all about. And I know perfectly well that you've got a bit of a core there of players who have experienced Edinburgh Derbies before. They know perfectly well what it means. But I think it's got to try and get that across to players like Braga, players like Kazaridis. I think you would maybe go as far to say that McAtee, he'll get it. He'll probably understand that coming from the sort of more British game as such. But there's a number of players that maybe just haven't experienced that kind of magnitude of what the derby actually means. We've mentioned it before. You win your derbies, effectively, you've had a great season. I know we're maybe looking at things differently this season, but it still comes back to it. You come back to the whole fact of you win your derbies. That's the important part. If you pick up the wins when you're away from home, even better as far as we're concerned. So it's a big game on Saturday. I'm still can't believe that it's a 5:45 kickoff. Atmosphere will be absolutely electric on Saturday night, and I'm looking forward to the game. But I will have that period for roughly about 3 or 4 hours beforehand, where I'll have a little bit of the exactly.
I'll be in the pub with you, Kev. It's fine. I'll look after you.
That's fine, mate. Will you rub my back? Cheers, thanks.
What are you thinking, Tam?
We're
in the toilet all the time anyway, so it'll not be any different for you.
Exactly. I'll actually be there more, which might as well just get a season ticket in the toilet. But it's one of those things. I just hope we have a good start to the game. I think that could rock them. And I don't want to put you down, Kev, but it looks to me like your Kyrgyz or Braga actually do get it as well. And the good thing is we do have McInnes.
We don't know, mate. We don't know yet. Let's talk about that one at 8:30 on Saturday night. But I genuinely believe that they should get it. I know they get the club, but this particular game it's a different one. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. From their playing backgrounds, have they had games of that same level? I'm not entirely sure, but I do think that players like Shankland, Halkett, even Kingsley, Even Finlay to an extent, Finlay's, for all that he's not played in an Edinburgh derby, he has a great or a better understanding of what these kind of games actually mean, especially in the Scottish game. You don't get the time on the ball. It's about getting in, making sure you are strong in every tackle. You're strong in every tackle. You've got the crowd on your, you've got the crowd with you every single step of the way. That's massive. The last thing, there was once on Saturday that Bragg had a chance to actually just get ahead of the boy coming in, and he held back. And I know there's a few people around about me were like, "Nah, you've got to win that, got to get there," because they're the kind of ones that can come a cropper and you can get injuries and such like. So these are the things that I'm looking at.
I fair, but what I would say is it's probably a good thing that we've got McInnes there. Like he's not going to be like Critchley last year saying it's another game or whatever. He knows exactly what it means.
The best team won.
Yeah, that's what it was. And all that pish. He's going there for blood and plunder and all that. So,
but those things as well. I think like you look at what Braga and Kizarides and that will thrive off. They'll thrive off the atmosphere. If they take Kizarides takes his man on and gets to the byline, he's going to be absolutely buzzing to do it more because the atmosphere will be different. On Saturday, they won't have experienced it. And I think that I wouldn't be surprised if you see us start completely differently to the game on Saturday than we probably have done in our last 3 or 4. I think we might see throw fucking caution to the wind and you might see absolute all out, just go for it, see what they do, see if they can handle it, try and put them under as much pressure as we possibly can. Keep the atmosphere high, keep the crowd engaged, because lulls in the atmosphere coincide with Hibs growing in confidence or moving into the game or stifling us or whatever. So I'm looking forward to it. I just like to say I hope that because they are excitable, Braga's no daft with lunges or doing anything stupid or getting himself into tussles where he could potentially get booked or sent off and all that sort of stuff. So I'm looking forward to it. It's the first time for ages that I've actually looked forward to seeing what we can deliver in a derby, because there'll be none of this when you're in individual battles, take the emotion at the game, see how you settle into the game, and that it will be literally getting into them for the fucking first minute to the last, which I'm looking forward to.
I mean, that's slightly worrying and concerning in itself that you're actually looking forward to a derby.
Kev, I've told you, now we have a manager. I don't even check the starting 11 until I get into Tynecastle and see it come up on the big screen. I don't care. I don't care. We have a football manager that understands football. I don't need to try and second guess some absolute no-mark jobber. So
there you go, then.
There we go. Right, let's do predictions and then let's get up the road. Tam, what's your prediction for Saturday?
I wish you wouldn't come to me first. I would have just copied somebody else's homework.
Such a gimp.
It's going to be 3-1 Hearts.
Kev?
I'll go 2-0 Hearts.
Ando?
Clean sheet for the keeper again, despite a moment of madness. It'll be Hearts 4, Hibs 0.
I think I'll go find me and say a Desmond. I'll go 2-2. We'll go. It's my go-to. It's my go-to when I really want to say 6-0. So I'll say 2-2 and sit on the fence. Anything YouTube-wise before we wrap up? Thanks to everybody for joining in and contributing. 2-0.
No, nothing. Just one final comment, which is only... Oh, if I just flash it up. The only worry is the keeper, especially at set pieces. Pardon me. Hibs load the 6-yard box. Didn't handle that well at Ibrox. So that's fair enough.
DW Jumbo, that is a very good point.
But nothing else. Just McLovin need to be strong but level-headed in equal measure. Aye, and then Dave McGee's saying get Gary Locke in the changing room before kickoff. That'll definitely install in the players what it means to win a derby. So, but they're going to know that already when they sign for the club. So they'll be fine.
Yeah. Right. We will broadcast. Yes, I did just say that. We'll broadcast next Sunday. Hopefully discussing the 150th Hearts victory in the Edinburgh Derby. That would be very, very poetic, as McLovin said. Right, troops. Thanks as always. I'll see you all next week.
Catch
See
you
you
in a wee
later.
bit.
See you later.
Gorgeros.